Welcome to another JCR off-road installation video. Today we're putting trail doors on this XJ. It's gonna be rad. Come along. So step one in our XJ trail door installation is removing the seat. You need to remove the seat because there are a couple very stubborn small screws here. If you have a small screwdriver that will fit in this area in between the seat, more power to you. We don't, so we took the seat out. This is the fuse panel. This is located up here in the kick area. There's a small screw that's hidden underneath this main panel right here. So make sure you take that out, and then behind the fuse door in the Jeep is a 12 millimeter nut. It's just one of these very thin clip nuts, but if you don't remove that and you try and pull this off, it will break all of this, and then none of that will fit back in there. So we're just going to set that aside for now. Continue our installation. So before you can pull the harness all the way through the door, you need to make sure that you push this side through. This is the part that's back here. So just kind of work your finger all the way around this softer part right here, and it will allow this shoulder to pull through. You don't just want to yank on it because you could separate some of the wires. And then on the inside of the door, in the door jamb, you'll need to remove this robot arm looking grommet thing right here, just by pulling back on this edge. And then you can feed the wires through the hole and leave them hang out here. These will move out with the door, so you can just leave them like they are. Next, we'll have to remove the plunger for the dome light. We'll have to remove this pin right here for the stop, and then we can start working on taking the physical door off with the hinges. So a lot of the next couple steps are going to be universal for each of the four doors. You will have to remove this cotter pin right here, and you will have to remove this plunger switch for the dome lights. This is a 9/16 socket, and you can remove this with a set of channel locks. Just pull these out. On the back side of this plunger switch is a plug, and if you remove that plug, your dome lights will just turn off. Grab back here by the plastic and just give it a pull. It should pop out just like that. This you'll want to put back in here just like so. That way you can reach it again. As for the pin, the easiest way to do it is to open your jaws with your channel locks just a little bit. Grab the bottom side of the pin and the top of the body mount and just squeeze it together. You can just hit it with a hammer, but that's not as precise. It's a little more fun, but not as precise. Getting in there very well. There we go. With those removed, we can move on to the Torx bits that are back here. You'll need to take all three out per hinge, leaving the hinges on the body. I say leaving them because you'd have to cut them off with a wheel. They're welded to the body. So there is only one way this door is going to come off. So in order to remove the door from the hinges, you need to remove these three Torx bolts. The size that you'll need is a T40 bit. You can remove all three of the bottom ones while leaving one in the top. And then as you loosen that one, have a friend holding the door. It's very heavy. You just don't want to drop it, especially if you're standing right here. They may come out a little difficult if you live in the northern states that like to put salt on the roads like we have here in Michigan, but you can just take these out. So we're going to take the last bolt out here. I have Joe, our awesome engineering intern. He's going to help me hold the door because it's his Jeep, and if he drops it, well, it's his fault then, isn't it? Joe is a Leo. He enjoys long walks on the beach, and if you like an engineering husband, you can fight his girlfriend for him. Oh, pro tip I forgot to mention while I'm loosening this. Get ready to catch your door. Pro tip. All of the switches to roll the windows down. Oh my goodness, things are falling out of this Jeep. Oh, there's another one. What is happening? All the switches to roll the windows down are controlled through the driver's side door. So I would do that one last. And before you unplug this, roll the window down. It makes an awesome handhold for catching a door. We didn't do that because we're dumb. If you do the driver's door last, you can still roll down all three of these though. If you do the driver's door first, none of these window switches will work. She free. Now the front door is off, we're going to turn our attention to the rear door and remove it as well. So with this panel still loose, the front door gone, you have to reach down underneath this seatbelt mechanism and remove these two plugs. They're anchored to the unibody with like a plastic pop rivet. You can just kind of pop them loose with a screwdriver, or if you have one of those plastic rivet remover tools, just kind of get in there and pop them out. Pull them out this far so you can get at them, and you need to unplug these before this door can come off. Same thing as before, you'll have to reach up and remove the robot arm from inside the door. You'll have to remove the plunger for the dome light, and you'll have to remove that pin for the door to actually come off before removing any of the hinge bolts. Now when it comes to these two plugs, the first big clear one is easy. You just push down on it and it comes loose. The second one has one of these goofy little tabs, and something that I found works really well is the side of this Phillips head screwdriver. You can just take it up underneath there, pull it just a little bit, and slide it apart. Okay, same as before, we're going to remove the plunger and remove the pin. 9/16 for the plunger. Same thing on the back side. You'll just have to unplug it once you pull that wire lead out. Stuff the wires back inside the door so they don't get smashed. Grab the pin, push it up through. Wow, that one does not want to come out. With the wires removed, with the pin removed, and the plunger removed, you have to grab onto our friend the robot arm, remove him, slowly and carefully guide those wires up behind that seat belt mechanism and out through the door. Okay, so pro tip number 47 in this installation. If you take these little covers off right here, while the door is closed, the rear door is closed, you can actually see 2 of the 3 Torx bolts in there. Take an extension, again with your 40, and you can loosen these. Not remove them all the way because they'll actually hit the hinge, but you can loosen these, and it's easier than trying to do it while it's in the door jamb. Hey look everybody, Joe's back. Awesome. That must mean that we only have one more bolt to take out, and then this door can go bye-bye. There you go. You are free. And just like that, we're ready to put the doors on. When it comes to installing the door, there's a couple tricks. The first thing you need to know is that the button heads go in through the back, and I would put one in each of the hinges. That way you have a place to kind of locate the door. And if they fall out, they fall out, but at least you can get one on there while you're trying to put this in, holding it with one hand. The easiest way to do it is to stand inside the door, put your arm all the way out to the outside, and just kind of hold it there. Locate the hinge with one of those holes, like so, and start that flange nut. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I'll get out of the way here in just a second once this is started. Okay, so you need the button head on the inside because a regular bolt that comes in the pack will hit on this. We had to use button heads to clear this hinge. So make sure the button head goes on the inside. You can't use the nut on the inside either for that same reason. It has to be the button head on the inside. Go ahead and put the other the other 5 in loosely, and we will tighten them after we adjust them later. So we're gonna do that same thing with the rear door, where we put just the 2 bolts, remembering to put the button heads on the back. Slide the door on. Start the nut down here. All right, now that both doors are on loosely, what we want to do is, I've tightened up the rear just to kind of see where the front one needs to be. I'm also going to tighten up the front, but I think we're going to have to go back and shim a little bit with some of these washers that are included in the pack. It's going to be different for every vehicle. You're going to need to shim, you're going to need to adjust, you're going to need to tweak. These are definitely not something that's going to go right from the box on the Jeep perfect the first time. I mean, they might if your Jeep is exactly the way they are coming out of the box. That's awesome. Good for you. But 99.9% of the other people out there are going to have to shim these. They're going to have to adjust these. They're going to have to move these around. With the front bolts snug, they're not completely tight, but snug, so it's not moving around. You can see that the gap is pretty good through here. You want to check the gap along the bottom and make sure that that is level and straight. And then you're going to want to open and close these doors just a little bit to see if they're going to interfere with each other. And it feels like this rear door wants to touch the front door a little bit. Now it's going to be easier because we have a larger gap in the back to move this rear door back just a little bit. And you can do that by pulling the door back off and putting a washer in between the factory hinge and the door itself. Okay, so we shimmed the rear door up. You can see that the gap around the corner here looks great. The gap here in the middle looks nice. The gap in the front looks nice. We also put one washer on the bottom of each of these three right here. There's a washer on the bottom of the three on the back door, and that just helped get everything straight and level like we were talking about before. Every Jeep is going to be different, so remember that. Every Jeep is different. You will have to shim your doors. You will have to adjust your doors. I keep saying it over and over because it's very important. Also, in the hardware kit, there are a bunch of these washers, and they're not for anything other than adjusting the doors. So you don't have to put washers on any of the bolts that we're using. It's just there to move the doors around, shim them into the places that you need to have them. We're going to move on to the latch, assembling that here inside the door, and then we'll do the same thing with the rear, and the door should be complete. I just wanted to give you an idea of what was included in the hardware kit. So we have the latch itself, we have two bolts that will hold the latch on, and those have split ring washers for locking them down. And then we have this stainless threaded rod right here. This will be the latch mechanism to actually let you out of the Jeep. You'll just grab onto this and pull. And then you have two flange nuts. So one flange nut needs to be oriented this way, and the other one will be the other way, sandwiching this threaded rod onto the latch, and you'll see that a little bit later. Here's a fun fact. This is stainless steel, so it's one of the only parts on the XJ that won't rust. So we're going to install the latch. You can see I've already put the threaded rod in here, and we're going to take our bolts and we're going to thread right into this side of the latch, making sure that the latch points up and forward. And these are slotted so that you've got lots of room to adjust the latch. You can move the engagement in and out pretty far on this. So now that your latch is installed, the fine tuning for this is in these slotted holes over here. So you can move this latch around in and out so that you get the right engagement on the door. You can also shim this latch forward and backward with the supplied washers that are in the hardware kit. Don't forget to put the rubber stopper in. This is what has to touch the upright on the unibody. When you close it, it should be a nice firm closure. Shouldn't rattle around. It should be nice and solid. We also have optional armrests that would bolt right here in these two holes. They're padded, they're very nice. So if you're leaning on your door like this, imagine leaning on a padded armrest slightly inside. That's it for us. If you have questions about this install, you can email tech@jcroffroad.com. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. I mean, Joe, it's a nice Jeep. I kind of like the factory doors on it. Why do you want to put trail doors on it? This isn't your Jeep again, is it? That's really stupid.